if it's working, it's working, you know? They just keep playing it.
Yeah, and I actually really like Alpha your Vice too.
Yeah.
You know, his Vice on Corrode, really solid. And looking at this, you know, you can't be too surprised, Billy, at what we're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a map that's been working for them, so it would be kind of a surprise to see them change anything here. But Giant X sticking with what they usually run as well. So yeah, no surprises on either side.
Yeah, with Grubby on the team, Flyer, tell me about what kind of win condition he brings onto a roster.
I mean, he just loves fighting people. He's super, super confident, and just overall vibes, he'll never complain. He's a very positive guy. I love him.
That's the kind of crashy stopper. We know you're not gonna play ISO.
He does this every time.
We know if he hovers the raise, I swear to God, this guy's just farming impressions during Agent Select. But yeah, with Giant X, like Gruby, you mentioned, somebody that is very, very confident, somebody that likes to fight. Pound for pound, firepower-wise though, Billy, they gotta bring their A game.
Yeah, they definitely do. I think both teams will probably be feeling the pressure today as well, though, because Fnatic want to keep being able to get these reps in on maps that they've not played for a while, especially before champs. But then you look at Giant X, you know, the stakes are so high for them, because if they lose today, then they are just completely out of contention for champs. So yeah, both teams going to be feeling that pressure going into the server today.
Yeah, and I want to also wonder what Pipson is cooking. You know, you have to expect that Lotus could be a pick here into GX, especially from a team like Fnatic. He's so familiar with them as well. The opposition head coach quite literally used to be his assistant coach, somebody he worked with for a very long time too. So the mind games will be nice. Flyer, very quickly, who you got on Lotus?
Fnatic all the way.
Let's go Fnatic, I say.
Well, I hope there's some Giant X believers out there. Hopefully these two gentlemen, Hazza and Cairo.
It's the story that many would like to see, as all roads lead to Fnatic in the lower bracket. We don't expect to have them in this part of the competition in Stage 2. It's always towards the uppers. But if GX are to prove that they really have that dark horse aspect to them, that they can keep this dream alive, then that's the team they've got to beat.
Yeah, and for Fnatic, they can go and do the dirty work for 3 other teams, Team Liquid, Team Heretics, and obviously BBL. This is the first matchup of today that could potentially qualify a lot of teams. Let's be having you.
Let's be having you, indeed. We have not seen a new composition from Fnatic on this map, of course, since 2023. 6 agents ever played. So you knew what you were getting coming in. And for GX, it's been a while since we've seen it. Week 2, the last time that they played it. Plenty of reps post-merger, the most, in fact, of any. Beginning this defender's side. Moving up on sand, looking for an aggressive play.
Cover going out. Does need to be careful. Are identified though, so Fnatic aware of this push and being forced all the way back. Cron low, despite managing to escape the grasp of GX.
Question is, do Fnatic want to fight this? Seems to be the case. Paranoia lumped in with the nade.
Yeah, and Host around the side, entry for Fnatic, but Scribinho on the other side, who's done the most damage. 4 versus 2. Fnatic were good for clutches yesterday. Might be too much of an ask here.
It's got their 2 top performers, but Crashies and Kron. A quick reminder posted, as they will make their way over towards the C site. Spike in transition still, but should go down without trouble.
Crashies, Sheriff in hand, knows where the next player's coming from, and unfortunately leaves Kron 1 HP, decayed all the way down. Spike in the back pocket, at the very least, so a chance to escape.
30 seconds
to come
left.
up with a plan.
The macro from GX has always been pretty good. It was the small details which they needed to iron out. It's a quick reaction towards C to stop the play from being made. Already now starting to search on the other side of the map. Cypher setup, Kron has a lot to cross and little time to do it.
That's the problem, right? The delay that the traps can make, but he will be at least able to get that spike down. Still 2 players to find, and well, straight up, flickless line and wait. Giant X finding the pistol.
Kept in position by the utility is Chronicle, but I go back to the point I was stressing mid-round, that Giant X, in terms of their setup, have been pretty strong. And this is an average pistol from them. They do like to overload C, try and force the rotation into their utility as much as possible. Diffuse coming in from Flickless once Westside's gone all the way to the other side of the map to recover the Sheriff. But no harm, no foul. A very strong start for them. Not often you see them win pistol rounds.
No, it's not, but it's a great start. I mean, Fnatic need to be careful of letting this defender side get the momentum on Lotus as well. We know that teams have been a lot better at it in recent history, but still a three-site map, still you expect the bias to be towards the attackers.
Exactly. And even for the close maps that we had against Liquid a couple days ago, just one pistol round picked up from GX, so already equaling their tally in that regard.
Toxins going up.
Fnatic is going for a similar play. A lot of rounds you're going to see Grubby playing towards Rubble. In a pretty easy fixture into this GX lineup in terms of the role that he fulfills as a smoker.
Spam manages to get rid of the Cypher setup, and look at Kayak, just deposited so deep.
Embedded. But you feel this one doesn't get too far out of control unless there's a glaring error from GX. And that is the second point to the wider conversation that we were having. And what Pipson was saying in the pre-match, that, you know, sometimes a little caught off guard, overthinking things.
Overthinking there. Grubby finding crashes, but he is extremely low. And Poster waiting to maybe set up Kayak through the paranoia, and he goes, but Flickless up to the task. And now with all bodies outside of C for Fnatic, you expect this to be where the execute comes in.
Just sort of realizing this is a little bit of a lost cause, so let's get the ult orb on Kron. As Fnatic have confirmed their positioning in sand, and GX not overdoing it, not overstepping at all, keeping them condemned to where they stand. Should be a confident anti-eco. In fact, is set up to be flawless, even though Flickless takes a shot to the dome piece.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing we saw in the game versus BBL. Fnatic really good at being able to threaten those anti-ecos as well. Not able to do it here, but that's because of how reserved GX were compared to a team that, let's be honest, the past couple of days have shown another level to their aggression.
Another of the questions that we had about GX and whether this was a possibility of a dark horse run, as they will claim an in-zone flawless heading into their bonus round. To really strengthen it was, you know, finding their identity and how do they want to try and play. And it's this level of directness that we've not really seen from them before that I think has suited them so well. Aggression on A to start. As expected, Westside is ready to receive Fnatic on C again.
As he always is, he's one of the best anchors that we've seen come through the Tier 2 system.
So heavily touted, and you saw the potential there even from stage to stage when GX didn't have the results, but he's now part of a wider system, project that has found success. Fnatic still defaulting, but proactivity.
Through Boaster, next one up, can't quite hit the shots, but feeling the pressure and looking to dip away. At the same time, Fnatic are starting to create their own pressure pockets. Behind the wall, they walk out. GX aware, starting to regress, so map control 1 for FNC.
Yeah, and you're seeing the movement outside of C now. Fnatic queuing up with the spike, but it's a reconsideration as we hit the 30-second mark. A B split looking all the more likely now as the two players move through main, Kron and Alpha.
That's the thing, we're starting to get towards Fnatic time. Down towards 20 seconds, in the corner. We're seeing GX deposit, there's 3 bodies here. Flickless gets the first. He's the one in the corner, finally gotten out. And Fnatic, they look as if they're falling to the wayside, but as always, they buy themselves out of it. Still need to be careful of Orbit as a player's making his way in. That's Grubby. Spike down though, and Fnatic can reset.
Fnatic needing to search for a little bit of extra space here. Post plant on site.
And it is, Grubby's out, but Fnatic straight away deal with any problem coming their way. And the Lancer back with a rifle round.
Grubby going down in Hobbit there makes life that much more difficult. It was a bold move from Flickless, committed to the far corner on site. But Fnatic running the clock down, as they like to do. And we saw a little bit of this in the Liquid game as well. When I talk of GX being a direct team, they like to play these quick, snappy rounds where the protocols play themselves. They're not really wanting to lean into the slower game, which makes it feel to me like we might have a bit of a stylistic clash. Important to mention between the two IGLs, Cloud has never bested Boaster in a series before.
No way.
And that might be why. Boaster with a very cheeky kill around the Prowler. Grubby doing his best to fill the gap, but that's it. Trades in favour of Fnatic.
And look at this. We speak about how slow Fnatic can be, but when they get a chance to, they're very quick on the mark. On towards the A site they go. 3 bodies strong, but Boaster's hanging around. He needs to be careful because Flickless is there. And now we go back to a 3-on-3.
Standout performer in the last game for GX. Now Flick from the Viper will trade pits with Chronicle. The site covered in fumes, choked out. Alpha trying to keep the attention of GX as Fnatic are still not committed to the plant hit.
Still not comfortable, but they've got so much of sight when you actually look at the map. GX finally making the pick up from heaven though. And Fnatic, I think they're looking to leave, eh?
Yeah, reading this as an overcommitment. GX, no reason to give Fnatic what they want and go searching for anything here. As I say that, side on the edge of the pit, just about spots the shoe of Kron. And then having taken him down, the illusion may soon start to fade. Ara on the B site.
Still on the opportunity, and he'll get the spike denied, leaving Alpha in a 1 versus 3.
Plenty of work for Alpha to do, and just simply not enough time on his watch to do it with. Flick straight into the site there. 3-1 lead now for GX, continuing to grow after the rifle round.
Fnatic again, I mean, it feels as if we get to that spot, right? They make a decision, it seems like a good one, and then they just overthink, doubt themselves on that A side. I don't know. I feel as if we're seeing this time and time again, Fnatic, just like with the amount that they've played. I mean, Billy was talking about the fatigue that the players have been going through. Maybe they're just starting to come towards that, needing a break, you know?
And that break comes in the form of an early timeout, but it's Fnatic instead of GX. And like you mentioned, fatigue is definitely, the potential for it is there for a long season, right? Yeah. We had 2 overtimes even yesterday as well. Fnatic have played the most rounds of any team in the playoffs so far, and you expect that from them. GX are second in that statistic though. So I think if we want to paint a fair picture, it goes both ways. Even just kicking things off on Lotus as a map, right? It's rare that we've actually really seen Fnatic pick into it this year. For the whole first stage, they played it 9 times.
It's always felt like a Fnatic stronghold, right? There's certain maps that we always think of. Fnatic, and Lotus is definitely one of them. One of the teams who were most dominant back in 2023 when it first came out.
Yeah, but as I was saying, 9 times in the first stage, and now in stage 2, only a handful, and every single time it's been picked into them. This is the first time we've actually seen them elect for it early on.
Leave their brains intact.
And interesting enough, Lotus in decline in EMEA.
Lotus it's been nicknamed as Fnatic try to brawl with the A-hole that we've been seeing GX win out. It seems as if it's going to continue that way.
Stronghold for them on the map right now. Westside in the time has to be a little bit cautious in how he approaches this.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Alpha has this Guardian, something in which could take a head or 2 off. GX are starting to push this map control that Fnatic have, or lack thereof.
Westside also watching over Sand, so it's the V-hold which he is relied to be the custodian of. It has been relinquished though. Alpha to the kill that sets up a 2 versus 3, and it's these 2 clutch players again that we're looking at, and Kron, most importantly.
Yeah, 3 clutches, 1 yesterday, but he won't be able to chip in for this 2 versus 3, now 1. Just Alpha all alone. A lot of bodies to try and deal with, and a lot of utility as well. Managing to escape the horn. A timing, but it doesn't work out in his favour. Flickless aware of it. Giant X get their 4th.
A very unexpected timing with the smoke pluming, with the horn dropping right behind it. Not revealed, but standard procedure here for GX. A clean-up in this round. And coming back to that statistic as well about Lotus and Fnatic, I think as you look later on into this veto with Corrode, right at the back end, when they had success on that map instantly, the first time, you know, coming in as a new map, it translated to success for them on the international stage. That's what they're trying to achieve here. getting this one up to speed. Big fight about to go down in sand.
Arrows up at the back of it. Fnatic not really interacting much. Sure, utility thrown either way, but we're happy to just leave this. And Boaster deposited. Has his ultimate if he wants to get out.
As you say, Ara left behind is something which Fnatic will have to deal with later on. It's against teams with high operator usage that they have tended to struggle a little bit more. We didn't see that against KC, but a different story here. Still the spike inclined towards C. Kayak and Kron just creating a bit of fake pressure for the time being.
Yeah, but they've moved into tree themselves, and this Cypher setup's going to be big passive information for the defense. Loaded towards that A side, sure, because of Ara. But with that, Prowler's shown. That's presence known on that C side. Here's Boaster gone.
Big pick from Ara, and so quickly the reaction is made on the Fnatic side. 30 seconds yet again. Crashy's making his arrival now on A, but it's double-layered Sentinel utility. The anchor of the Viper with the... Cypher util taken offline. Westside goes down.
Yeah, but Flickless still here. And that spike being down is the only real problem. But you look at Kayak, he has his ultimate.
Cross the lines, but Alpha's still part of this puzzle as well, and with the spike on the other side, it's in no man's land. No way to recover this for Alpha yet. GX should know that the clock has won it for them, as it has gone against Fnatic multiple times already in this playoff stage. Slight lack of commitment perhaps, or just an incredibly late one. But a 5-1 scoreline with GX having won the majority of the rifle rounds we've seen.
I mean, that's the big thing, right? Is the fact that when it has come to rifle rounds, GX have continued on this rampage.
Nice! Good job, boys. Well done. Well done.
It feels as if, as well, like the player performance on Fnatic, they look as if they are tired, right? They are having a slow start.
Just have to track if there is improvement as time goes on. GX with the same setup towards C again. 2 players through the door this time. Cloud finding one, and Kayak position feels futile. As soon as that barrel is spotted, Cloud is on to the next. Takes his number. And with Grubby following it up, Fnatic staring at 6-1 here. And sure, it wasn't the best of investments from them. Not all too much behind it. The context in which these rounds are being won, everyone on GX involved.
Yeah, I mean, what more can be said? An in-zone flawless, and it feels that way. Giant X look dominant on this defender side. And we really need to see Fnatic show something different. I mean, Lotus for Fnatic, last time they showed it up against Apex, it wasn't a good showing, right? It was shaky. They were able to buy themselves out a difficult spot. And that's against one of the worst opponents in the league.
Yeah. I hate to say it, perhaps the worst. But on this map, sure, statistics a little different.
Ores and ore remaining.
Big realizations for me is just that Fnatic did very well in their 5v4s, converting advantages yesterday, but so far doesn't feel like they've really been in a position where they've had numbers. And again, Ara cracks the whip, the op finding Boaster. Forced to make a move elsewhere, but already GX cottoned on to this.
Yeah, the reactions are spot on, and not only that, look how deep Westside is on C.
He's walked all the way out in sand. So confident, chest puffed out in front of his own setup. Happy to take the jewel on the chin. GX queued up for a Fnatic on A.
Calmness about this defender's side and the way that they're making a decision making. Fnatic, they've even got to deal with the Viper's pit, and with 50 seconds remaining, they're going to use the lockdown to try and get rid of it. And even look at Kayak, looking for more space up through stairs.
Positioning condemned. Still Flickless hanging around on site. Will get cleared out, and Ara found as well, but Cloud has been on a heater so far.
And he continues to do so, in through drop, and Garbino out of Hobbit door.
The envelope as much as possible. Kron is the hard clip. Tries to take the engagement himself. Look at it, a little more forthcoming. Cloud with the flash in. Does go down. Grubby looking for a little bit more TP. Ambitious. And Crashies to cut him loose. West side, the last left. And as he opens up his jacket pocket, it's a second Fnatic round.
A lifeline, a little bit of relief for the attack. Even just when you think that the GX have the right calls, right? We're talking about the calmness, the way that they're calling into that one. Fnatic do their best as always and allow their opponents to make the mistakes, I think, in that round as well.
I think that's what you're kind of hoping if you're on the Fnatic side, that GX are going to give you a lifeline, because coming back to those first duels, they were +7 in the green overall yesterday, or 2 days ago against Liquid. So they were winning all the engagements. It just comes back to this theme that's been following GX up until now, that closing from those positions, those small errors, those micro synergies that they've been working so heavily on from groups into playoffs, need to bear the fruits of their labor.
Being held. I'm not sure if that was Kayak or even if that was Ara on the other side of the map, but at the same time, still Fnatic playing with the clock and
Bring them down.
And if it is Kayak, which I believe to be the case, just trying to create a distraction again, because so far it doesn't feel like he's been a hard entry for Fnatic on this map. He's been used elsewhere. The group is still inclined for this A hit. This is where Fnatic have often tried to go, but been stopped out by GX. The difference this time is there is no Sentinel setup, but Ara is here. And the spam from Grubby will land the next.
yeah, that spike down on the ground. Where does Fnatic go with this one? It's not as if you can use Boaster's ultimate. He's out of the server, and look at this. Trying to continue on. Kayak now through Hobbit, go up, but Flickless is there, and up to the challenge. Fnatic. It is going to be 7 for Giant X. And an advantage moving in towards the next half. Guaranteed for the defender side.
Toxin screen down.
Fnatic really feeling like they've run out of steam on some of these rounds.
Yeah.
You're just waiting for that execution to come in, and then all of a sudden, Ara finds such a key kill. It's the third time now he's picked up Boaster with that op.
Yeah.
Something that I mentioned earlier as well, because I think just dealing with this, you have to be using your utility correctly and searching him out as much as possible, because he's been an absolute nightmare to play against as it stands. Second timeout Fnatic very early. This is not the first time we've seen this, really. It was the Liquid game. Had a spell of it against BBL as well.
Yeah, and I think like at the same time though, it's not the worst time to be using it. And this is something that the coaching staff had been speaking about coming into this playoffs, as well as Boaster, about how Fnatic want to work on their map pool for champs, right? They want to be able to use the comps as or these games as a way to test out comps, test out ideas of how they want to play around the map.
I think the issue is, we've seen this comp 30+ times played by Fnatic. The last time there was any change, Boaster was on the Astra instead. That's the one that I mentioned at the start. And yeah, it's not sort of post-2023 that we've seen that. So the theory is there. It's been written into the tablet, the stone tablet, for as long as is required now. And we've seen this from them on the biggest of stages, even more recently the grand final of Toronto against Paper Eggs. Going against them, it was the final map in that series.
Oh, he wants this.
This is a glass op from Kronk, by the way. He's down to 700 credits. Yeah.
Hey, listen.
I can't remember whether he picked it up in the previous round or not. I'm going to be completely honest. Either way, it's found the first pick, and Fnatic are on the site now.
Yeah, there they are. Spike down, post plant, but Boaster now with his own op, picked up from Ara.
I mean, oh my god, if this is the round that Fnatic win, then everything I know about VALORANT, gone in an instant. They have just,
You know much about VALORANT?
walked up with the op and said, yeah, you know what, we'll fight you. And against GX, that apparently works, but still 2-on-3. Fancying their chances, the defender's side, flush with cash.
The Odin though, the spam not working out, and Alpha takes his time in. Cloud now trying to get out of tree, but 3 players trained to his position gives Fnatic the third.
Yeah, so with Kron saved up and Boaster picking it up off the corpse of Ara, they have just shot their way through the site, and that's the sort of conviction that you expect from Fnatic, to bring it all back and put a bow on it. They are playing GX a little bit of their own game, remembering who they are. As it seems like this double down on the A fight will continue onwards, but this time GX have brought numbers to the spawn barrier.
I mean, for the most part, they win out the initial util dump. That's the way it's been, with Fnatic looking to re-engage, and it will continue to be that case. But a big pickup from Kayak.
My ult is ready.
Gets rid of Ara.
Bring them down.
And this defender side going to be even more stricken for options. They're trying to push forward.
Onto route again they go, 2 players, but no overstep yet, and Chronicle guarding for it, as he so often does.
Toxins going up.
Is there an angle here? It looks to be the case, but Kron better, trying to get out, does so. Now Fnatic, 2 to the good. So a decision can be made on where this spike wants to go down.
Toxins going up.
Flick double stacked it with util, defending position, but Kron continues to fan off this onslaught of GX players that are trying to create problems on the back line. This shot from Boaster opens the door for Westside quite literally. Second shot through will find Kron. 3 on 2.
Oh, you thought there was a timing. The alarm bot activates, so does the rest of Fnatic. So, with that being said, 1 round remaining, a 7-5 half wouldn't be a bad recovery for Fnatic.
Oh, absolutely. It would signify 4 from 5 when GX had only dropped the bonus, coming 7 rounds in. It's Chronicle once more, the boss in the server, that anything has to get past if you're to have half a chance. On him, they were so reliant in keeping this lower run going against the KC, who had a point to prove. Parisian homecoming. GX ending the half with a little bit of pace.
Oh, they might be ended themselves. GX trying to force the fight. Boaster trying to get out, but it doesn't work out. Cypher utility on the A side to gain that extra information. And allow for the spike to go down easy enough. But look at Fnatic, look at the space they want to take towards CT. Giant X trying to show some sort of resistance.
Yeah, all on Alpha to find this next duel, and does. Hit placed inside the site. A retake of increased difficulty for GX.
Nightfall to try and clear out the next couple. Howler, Grubby, a chance. Vulnerable up though. The players aren't looking, Chronicle does. And now it's up to Cloud. 1 versus 3. Time ticking away. You can't help but expect this to be a Fnatic round. 7-5 identified through Alpha's turret. And exactly that. A brilliant pivot on towards the A site. And not only that, the fact that they continued to move on forward and get the picks they needed.
Yeah, slow start to the evening for Fnatic, but coming back onto the form that you expect from a team at the top. We'll see if they can flip this one on its head coming out of the halftime. Welcome back. Into the second half we go in just a moment's time. For Fnatic, it was a case of waking up and smelling the coffee. And a player who's already done that today, eclipsing his previous performances, is Grubinho. And of course, the time that he had on stage 1 with Koi wasn't the best, but we all knew that the potential was there. And into this second stage, building towards playoffs, things have looked good. The match against Liquid, though, the weakest individual performance of any player in playoffs so far, -24. So I think the big question for him was, could he respond? And he has already started to.
Yeah, he has. He started off well, and I think like he's the component to this Giant X side that's really moved it into it being a real playoff contender, right? When we think of like how everything started to slot into place in terms of roles, and I think this is for the first time in a long time that we're seeing Giants actually have a roster with a lot of promise, right? As sure it's split to it's come into its form, but I mean something to build towards for next year.
You see that the roles are just that much more strict, and Grubinho has his part to play in it. As he does, this be execution. Paranoia in hand. As the toxic screen goes up, GX start to turn their gaze elsewhere. It's towards Kron, but as those backs turn, Alpha lights them up. Flickless gone.
Brilliant timing as well. But it looks as if GX are looking to just hit in towards C. There's two players here. It's Crashes and Kron.
Almost a little too straightforward. Into the open arms of Kron. Plenty of damage already done. Standing on his own 2 feet, and with Westside pinned to the corner, he's a dead man. Still Ara overlooked. It gives half a chance on the round, but Grubby has to win his one. And while all of that's going on, the spike has hit the deck, and Ara's nowhere to be seen. The player that we just highlighted needs a big moment to turn this one around.
Posters absolutely ran for the hills, giving nothing away to Grubinho. Doesn't want to allow a decent advantage to start to slip. Boaster though, caught in transition, eventually does give that
30
pick.
seconds
Yeah.
left.
So 2 versus 1, Fnatic have controlled the spike, so Grubby should know what he's walking into.
The other way Grubby could have gone would have been through CT, because that was locking off the B main. Door hasn't opened. Double stack Fnatic, and that's going to be the round. So number 6 locked in. Grubby walks into trouble, as do the rest of GX. A pistol which didn't really get going.
Yeah, I mean Alpha does so well in this round. So does Kron to drop the spike. The fact that you get 3 orbs towards your Killjoy, you...
No, he won't,
Nice
he
check,
won't,
nice
he won't,
check,
he
nice
won't.
Look, look. You're doing this, bro.
Yeah, so speaking of calmness, maybe a little bit more required there, as GX make no investment to the following round. Expect much to happen here, but this player got behind. Grubby has found Boaster, that's one.
Only one.
They're escalating this very quickly. This is the directness I was talking about from GX.
Yeah, and Crashes has a rifle, so
Oh,
he needs to be
no.
really careful. There's plenty of bodies to protect it though. Kron being one of them, Kayak the other, as Fnatic are dealing with any problems. Cloud has a chance to escape, or at least fake it.
Already sighted though, so that's the problem solved. Fnatic with the equalizer, back to 7-7. Well, we do have a little time. Yeah, just to build on that roles conversation, I think that's something that's been so pivotal for GX. They're playing quite standard across a lot of maps. You're going to see the same couple of agents, the pool, very minimized, but that's just made them a little bit more efficient with their micro, I think. And each player focusing on how it is that they can improve those mechanics, perhaps, and how that fits into the team picture. Well, they have looked a little bit more effective, and it's those fast hits where you really see the prowess of it. No commitment behind the early A wall this time.
Taking no time to scale up.
Bring them down.
That being said though, still plenty of utility to try and refight this. Kayak does it completely dry, catches Grubinho, which is a big loss because when you think of it, Giant X, when they go to execute, will have to deal with so many hard angles. You think towards B Heaven, you think towards C Waterfall, A Heaven as well.
Think about the whole damn map at this point.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many angles on Lotus. but you have to try and deal with Boaster having to deal with the push, and unfortunately for him, leaves Crashes all alone.
Solo on site, but he's found his first.
Yeah, and well, the next couple of picks go GX's way as well. Spike down. Unable to try and get some sort of delay. In fact, no at all. Spike committed. Alpha and a big key 1 versus 1 out of Hobbit. Giant X win the rifle round.
One dream ends.
Make the most of the A
Another
fights
begins.
there. Fnatic, in terms of their priorities of which space it was that they wanted to fight, Boaster getting caught here again. In terms of those first duels, he has had a pretty torrid time so far. When it comes to advantages, like we said, GX are going to open a lot of these rounds. It's whether Fnatic can close them from a deficit is the more poignant. And hit a bit of a delay, just keyboard issues, so nothing too much to worry about. But Kara, I think while we have the time, we sort of continue to bring that conversation forwards. What is it that GX need to do to beat Fnatic today? Where are the advantages going to come from this playstyle of theirs?
I mean, for me, you've got to be looking about, like, for instance, you think towards that A-hold, right? You had Kayak just swing out completely dry. You need to be aware of where Fnatic are going to try and take their opportunities. B site looking a bit open as well when you think towards that double stack that sometimes C finds.
Yeah, you can see the players, I was going to say in high spirits, but Boaster, stoic expression on his face, knowing that, of course, the job is not yet done. It's far from it, in fact. Fnatic's goals, I think, at this point, like you say, do stem from making those improvements towards champs. That's what their focus will be on. But again, just ironing out some of those issues that can only crop up in an official environment is especially poignant in times like these, when you're going to play against, you know, a GX side that like to be quite straightforward. So many different styles that you'll run into in an international event, and how to handle that, of course.
Oh, I mean, Alpha's just walked out straight into Ara's Outlaw. Fnatic find themselves at the back end of a poor buy,
I have the
even after the success they were having in the initial rounds. Forcing into that third one is what's cost them.
Do have Kayak here out on an island. Decides better of it. Gives up the space after Alpha Yez's demise. His fate settled in a similar manner to what looked to be panning out in front of his eyes. Stall from Kronzorb. He's currently sat in B main, waiting to react off of this execution.
Oh, Kayak, he got the entry. After that, though, it's all Giant X. So, with that being said, Crashes have to try and pick up into a full stack of players, but there are players low. The key point being
The Stinger at that range will struggle. Ara is on 6 points of health. Wondering if Grabinho would maybe drop him the Outlaw, but it's a little too much ground to cover in this 4 versus 2. I think each retaking from different positions. Crashes had util to set this up.
Pawn immediately destroyed. Giant X, they know exactly what is needed. Nice first shot, but that's all it's going to be. So that gap gets grown to 2. Giant X find himself 1 away from double digits.
Yeah, looking more than up to the task so far in this elimination match. Been dark horses all year long. And the significance of this fixture is the Fnatic game in the previous stage was the first look that we got at some of those new signings, Flickless and Ara from UCAM, and when you really felt like maybe there was a little bit more potential behind this new iteration of GX, given the time to work on things behind the scenes. Into the next rifle, Kayak's op is out on A. And from the breakable door, he is ready for GX.
Face your fear.
Oh, I don't think he wants anything to do with that. Kayak out of that breakable door has found his pick. So entry, 5 versus 4 for Fnatic to try and convert from, with the spike going down.
As the spike goes down, Cloud has the C's, and that's about all in terms of utility here to fall back on. Very regressive positions through tree, now moving out into grass.
Alpha mixed up against Flickless, can't win it out. And that's going to be a big pressure relief. That's not an angle that Fnatic can approach from. But at least Kron gets Cloud from stairs. And they go. Looks like Fnatic trying to assault in towards Tree. Still the last two. Ara trying to make his reprise. Doesn't work out. And Flickless trying to spam. Completely helpless. Thinks better of it. Would rather keep the rifle in towards the next round.
And so Fnatic start to reconsolidate control on this defender's side. An effective retake with no ultimates invested, so plenty to fall back on. This shot from Kayak. Fully through the smoke, took a timing on it. Same can be said of Chronicle. In fact, it feels a little unlucky.
Guy through the hobby smoke, bro. We've all...
Well, just one round in it now. Kayak and these defender sides have been a real focal point in these last few maps that we've seen him play. A real upturn in form where he was being sacrificed a lot on the attack. He's enabled now with the sniper in his hands.
Yeah, not only that, a showstopper in his back pocket. This looks pretty straightforward on the C site as GX look to hit into it. Kayak just not quite finding the fight on B main. West side winning that out, and Ara caught out as well.
Big kill from Alpha. Ara representing the only player presence from GX to have crossed the borderline into C. Rubinho will be left behind, detached from the rest as GX start searching elsewhere. So it's A that they're going with Flickless's wall, but you wonder if there is a late pivot.
Absolutely zero information except for that Cypher cam being shown. Waiting for the Toxins to come back up. That's a big pick. Still Fnatic have ultimates to come back in with if they really need to as well. This is looking like a quick B pivot.
As perhaps expected, and Grubby's managed to catch the timing on this as well. Kron on site, they exchange looks, but I don't know, did Grubby spot him or not? He's looking to take this a step further either way. Alpha lining up the lockdown, and yeah, Grubby swivels the head back around, looking for Kron now to try and take that fight. He'll lose it, but it ends 2-on-2, and the spike is in the ground.
Not only that, Viper's Pit invested by Flickless. This should be easy enough to close out for Giant X.
Trying to interrupt the timing. Kron fanning the pit across. The Venn diagram of green circles on site, but Cloud is ready for the jump up, and with 3 to his name on round 18, GX do have double digits.
I mean, and that's the big aspect to it. Ultimates invested, double digits found, and no timeout for the Fnatic coaches either.
Such a smart play from Grubinho though, and that's what releases so much pressure on the round.
Cloud, nice! Nice,
Didn't quite catch it on the replay, but yeah, you can only assume he saw Chronicle and just decided we want to set up for B. See what I can find here. And with the lockdown in play, you're kind of expecting Alpha to be setting that one up. Still available, of course. And this, the last real buy for Fnatic before GX can threaten map point on the black and orange map pick.
Looks like Giant X have made their decision though for this round, at least towards the C site where Kron and Alpha hold things down. And it looks like when you look at the positions, they don't really want to fight the choke. They would rather play for a retake. And for the lockdown readied as well.
A bit of a preemptive one, but Ara's going to go ahead and chase this. Showstopper with the paint shell still in his back pocket. Plenty of utility damage and a chance to deny it. Chronicle removed from the space, and GX not even going to chase it up. They drop all the way back to sand.
That's because of that lockdown in play, right? And ultimates that Fnatic can use in their favour, which they try to do here. Nightfall in first, as well as the lockdown.
The nade from Ara just to do damage on any players through Waterfall as Fnatic are swimming upstream into this retake, but the ult's invested, offset the chances. Now looking a bit more favourable. They need to fan out and fight the player's sand. Grubby in the meantime is wrapping around on the flank, but the kills have already been found inside of the choke. Alpha sticking it, a blind spray which won't connect. It matters not. Fnatic have fallen out of this round and out of favour on Lotus, it seems. GX continuing to build on their lead and with a huge opportunity to end it in the next few.
The fact that Fnatic used 3 ultimates in that last round and didn't find the value is probably what's going to push Giant X to go and win out this map. Go and push themselves forward.
Good job.
Fnatic, with the loss bonus, are going to throw as much into this as they can. Boaster on a Stinger, Alpha a Guardian, and with a full set of light shields, Ara, so often using the Outlaw, will bring it into play here as well. Alpha has to cross past it, but Westside's already off the board. Huge early win.
That's your lurker gone. That's your presence across the map starting to thin out. And Fnatic make their approach towards A lobby. Cloud only seen Boaster though.
You do still have other players that can fake that pressure. We saw Grubby do it in previous rounds. Looks like it's going to be Ara here. Still, GX committed to fighting Rubble.
Are they too committed?
Not wanting to overinvest any utility. We'll focus on Alpha now in the corner.
And he wins the first. Can't quite get the second, but Grubby's so deep. He's looking to try and lock round flank, see if he can find anything, but he doesn't. Cloud holding on. Was only able to find crashes, so in a very weird spot on the map. The fact that Flickless needs to try and get close to Grubby is the big component here.
Yeah, he's had the call from Grubby though that the A site should be completely clear, that he can go ahead and plant it. Cloud heard the steps of the push coming in from main, so the rest of the team have adjusted. This late alteration, they still have to pull off the 2 versus 3.
Shots fired forward. Presence in CT identified by Flickless, and he's going to hang around, hang on, but there's 3 bodies here. Kayak low as well, and that's the first to go, but Boaster there. And now it's up to Grubinho, deep in main, and with an option to spam onto the spike. He gets Kron, and it's now up against the captain of Fnatic! And he's able to clutch out Giant X on map point!
And a Red Bull clutch for Grubinho, bouncing back after a heavily critiqued performance in the upper bracket. Flickless does well to buy time here. Fnatic are so slow to get towards the site because they know GX are at a disadvantage. They're going to be looking to take those jewels, so they don't want to entertain it. Grubby over-delivering from that position.
Yeah, shouldn't have had a chance. The fact that Kron gets caught trying to move on towards the spike is a disaster. Seems as if Giant X happy to try and fight A once again. They're much more forward this time round. Fnatic, so much more regressed.
Similar sort of positions that we've seen. In fact, Boaster further forward on this close corner through the main choke than you would typically see. It's because he has Kron in support off his shoulder in the stairwell.
Boaster needs to play his timing to perfection, and he's done it. He's not able to get the second, but Kron is, and the spam goes west side's way of all people. The neural theft identifying crashes, but Kayak there to support and keeps us in a position that's winnable. It settles in a 1 versus 1. Flickless versus Alpha.
Built in the Spanish Challenger League and now hitting the scene. Flickless! Caught on the cross to tree by Alpha. A line drawn in the sand from Fnatic. This one not getting any further than 12 for the time being. 3 more opportunities for them to give us another extension of play.
Clutch on clutch. Seems like Giant X trying to clear their corners, maybe a little bit too aggressive in the way they were trying to take backside as well. Works out in Fnatic's favour. Anxious are the coaches, and they'll be allowed to speak to the players for the first time in a long time as GX use their first timeout.
Comes on the other side of the server. Pipson now involved, or so you would think. I mean, usually, sort of as he said, he was happy with the calls that Cloud had been giving, even in the tenuous of times for GX when it looked like they were really struggling, still with the full confidence in this project. And the same can be said from the management and his head coaching, because he's one of only a couple of coaches that have stayed with those original projects since partnerships began. He's been with Giants since he was a player. The history goes all the way back, but now with multiple revisions already behind him, this one seems to have found the most effectiveness that we've seen since 2023.
Yeah, and no stranger to making international events, right? It was able to make to champs back in, was it 23?
Well, yeah, that's the one that we're talking about.
Yeah,
that is
yeah,
sort of the champs event that Giants have had. But the problem is, it's the absence since then. And Cloud was talking about it in the interview that we had play in the previous game, that, yeah, you know, they're putting in hard work, hard hours, and they have been over the years. It's just, they want to know that that work was put to good use and that they tried their best, whether they succeeded or not.
Well, back to the seaside, where Kron and Alpha have been able to somewhat hold, but Ara's so deep, he's taken a lot of delay, a lot of decay, and Alpha, combined by Kron's snakebite, is able to deny the seaside.
It's just textbook Lotus from Fnatic. The double layering of utility, Viper and Sentinel partnered up. These fast C-Pops will get punished if they continue playing into that GX.
Just seen the shoulder crashes. Straight away, dips away, doesn't want to give anything.
Toxin screen down.
Flickler's still trying to explore towards C, rescue the rifle.
And he's done so. Can still remote control the Viper wall on A for the rest of his team. And now given the call to do so from the in-game leader, Cloud
Toxin screen
continuing to scale onto a site currently only held by Crashies. And so it's a complete forfeiture of the A site from Fnatic, playing a retake 3 versus 5.
I mean, good decision. You don't give anything away to your opponents, but the bad decision, or the bad thing about it, is it allows Giant X to go and try and set up, but Flickless moving a step ahead of the mark, puts it in a 5 versus 2. And it's a stinger, a sheriff. It's not weaponry that you would want.
For Fnatic, it should just be straight out of the playbook. 5 players from spawn side, Kayak first in, and a quick trade onto Grubby. So no messing around, no silly business. Fnatic now at 10, and GX's opportunities to finish this in the fashion that they would like reduced to 2.
And it's a professional round as well, the fact that they're able to get through that. Only really losing Kayak on the re-entry towards the A site. And the big thing about it is the fact that the lockdown's back online. So is the showstopper. Crashes away from his Nightfall. These are big components to finish out the map, and ones that can counter what GX have online. For instance, the Viper's Pit.
Alpha with a real uptick in form. Interesting to see here. Typically performs better on the attack halves than the defense, but 23 and 14 as it stands, and nothing getting past him on C. Fnatic with an adaptation. Heavy fight on A. Kayak caught, but the showstopper flares off and still finds one before getting traded out.
Monster stuck in the corner, trying to TP away in towards the attack smoke, and is successful.
Instantly multiple rifles light up, and it's at the cost of both TPs and Crashies as well, who ends up dying through the main line. Now GX converging in position on the B fight, and it's only Alpha in Waterfall. The Viper Pit is going to spread out onto the lockdown so they can challenge this, and one by one they will break it.
Back to the lockdowns, committed with no support. Now this round, which looked like it could have been Fnatic's, has been completely turned on its head. A Chronicle that has to go up into a 1 versus 4. And if he loses this, it's GX's map.
GX taking a huge step forwards into their hopes of champs qualification with a map win here. A step forward in this series, 13-10 on Fnatic's pick of Lotus. GX walk away, leaving them stunned. There was a slight blip in the middle. It looked like Fnatic had gotten back into it, but in the end stages. No mistakes made. We'll see if they can carry that on after the break.